What's up, guys, gals? Your host for the most, Griever, as always, bringing you guys chapter 117. As you can tell from that title, it's for Ayakashi Triangle, the Corruption's Destination is the chapter title. And actually, unlike the last two reviews, which were quite long, this one, not that it's a bad chapter, but it's a lot less. There's a lot less to discuss. There's no big lore reveals. There's no big situation or starting of a new arc or new villains or anything like that to talk about here. And it does not continue off with the original series. The last time, apparently, it had 2 volumes. There was a series by the mangaka that has now been incorporated with Princess or Ayo, the first Ayakashi medium, Ayo, apparently was from the original with the Yin Yang forces and all that stuff. There's some incorporation from one of the original series. You see that a lot in a lot of mangas, even if they get canceled or not. You see reoccurring characters, reoccurring themes. Sometimes it's set in the same world. You see that with a lot of different mangakas. So, sort of to be expected, but I was not aware of the other series that only had about 2 volumes, I believe. I've yet to find a good link, a solid link to read that series on my own time, so gonna have to, but I would like to, now that we know for official that it's been incorporated into Ayakashi Triangle. Probably some good just background lore going forward, reading the rest of the series, right? So, but this particular chapter has a very interesting dynamic, and that's about it. It's very straightforward. So we saw that the Gogyosen, the asshole group, you know, the very ancient, butthurt Japanese priests or shamans decided, okay, we're going to summon the ultimate grudge to go find the Ayakashi medium, and they summon the corruption, the black flame, and it goes forth. We jump over to Suzu and Matsuri, who are warning everyone in the Ayakashi village about what's going on, but please, we're not going to start a war. They all want to fight for their queen, you know, or their king, but, you know, it's Suzu, so it's queen, the queen of the Ayakashi herself. They want to take up arms and fight for her, and she's like, no, don't do anything. I would hate to see you two fight. Stop it, you know. And there's a couple of moments between Shirogane and Matsuri and Suzu while they're just walking away from the village. They, you know, warn them and such. Then we see this very disgusting looking hornet killer needle bee thing from Yu-Gi-Oh! Sort of looking creature that's going to, of course, attack. And seemingly it's the corruption that was sent by the Gogyosen, and they sent this thing, and it tries to attack Suzu. Matsuri, of course, defends it, getting in the way, and at first it's like, okay, what's the difference going to be? And we actually see the reaction of the Gogyosen, because they actually say, wait a minute now, like, it didn't attack Suzu, but like a good Exorcist ninja bodyguard, Matsuri jumped in the way without hesitation. This will actually work to our advantage. So, this was not their intention by the sound of it, but they sort of had a couple of, this is plan A, but plan B and C, they had a couple of contingency plans if something else happened. So, assuming that this thing did not stab Suzu, they must have had a backup plan, or assumed that it would be because Matsuri would get stabbed instead, and seemingly this works to their advantage. Now, at first you would think, okay, they're in the spirit world, she can't see the actual Matsuri, like the female Matsuri, because what ends up happening, of course, is something reacts with the, gender swap jutsu on Matsuri's body. Matsuri seemingly disappears. The corruption enters the body, hurts her, whatever, and we're going to get to that because she disappears. No clothes on, of course, it's Ichi manga, lands on Shirogane, and Shirogane still sees it. It's like, Matsuri, get off me. He's like, what the hell happened? And then we say, wait a minute, look, and there's Matsuri in his actual form as he's a real boy, and he's there. He's on top of Suzu, and he's like, holy crap, it's back, wonderful, right? You know, all that stuff. So hilarity ensues for the last couple pages, but then we realize at first I was thinking, okay, it's only going to be Shirogane and Kanade that can see this Matsuri. This Matsuri is invisible or unable to be seen. This is the true consciousness. This is a Matsuri controlled by the corruption that's going to pretend to be Matsuri so they can get into the heart. Remember, because they want to break Suzu. They want to kill her, but they also want to break her. They're very conniving. They're very petty. Remember this. They want to fill her with hate and despair and all that stuff. They don't just want to execute her. They want her to suffer. That's sort of the vibe we're sort of getting from them. So First thing I thought was, okay, we're going to do, this has been done many times in manga. We're going to do the classic, okay, taking over the body. It's not actually Matsuri. It's Matsuri's got the memories and all that stuff of being Matsuri so that Suzu doesn't suspect. But in the end, it's actually the corruption, and, you know, the real Matsuri has to take it and watch as this one tries to corrupt her or say, nah, I'm going to break up with you or something like that. Like, they were going to do that whole avenue. Apparently we're flipping that, and I don't mind that because that one has been tried and true, and realistically never really cared for it because there's only two actual answers to that plot line ever. One, the person in a lot of shoujo manga. See, I've read a lot of shoujo, that's why I've seen this many times. It's always the twin brother. It's always the telenovela, the evil stepbrother, the evil twin brother that nobody knew about, right? It's always that story. And it only ever goes two ways, in manga especially. Generally, if the character's really cool and we really like that character, they're like, nah, I'm not fooled for a fucking second. You know? We saw that happen in, spoilers for the series Lucifer. We saw that happen in one of the last seasons of Lucifer with Michael. We saw it happen in Maid-sama with Usui's brother. We've seen it many times, but usually the badass female always knows, can always tell right away, and just like, no, I'm not falling for this gag, I'm not falling for this trick. You might look like him, but you're not him, and they know right away because love trumps everything. It's a nice message. Then you have the other way, which is just really annoying because in the end, it's either, depending on the rating of the series, it either goes a little dark, a little twisted, and then there's some PTSD after the fact, and then there's trust issues and all that stuff going forward for a whole arc. And that one is just not, it's not in the feel of Ayakashi Triangle for one thing, and also, I've never liked that one. I've never really liked the one where it's a total misunderstanding, or she couldn't tell, or she was deceived, and then she doesn't trust the main guy for a whole arc and stuff before they get back together. They're about to get together, they're about to kiss, they're about to do that stuff, and then this all happens, and then like, I think we need time, I think we need a break, I think this is all too much, and it's always that way. So, both those storylines, the first one sort of works out most of the time and it's kind of cool, but Suzu's not exactly a badass warrior woman. She's cool and she's not a bad character, but she's not the badass warrior woman, so the first plot line doesn't work. The second one, once again, I don't think that's the direction of this comedy series. So I really like, I say all this, one thing to extend the runtime because we're about at the end of the review, but two is because I really like this one, where none of that is true, and now I don't know how this is a good thing. It's possible that this Matsuri, it's almost absolutely written in stone, that the boy Matsuri is still got the corruption inside of him, and even though it is basically a clone of Matsuri, the corruption is slowly going to take him over, and there is going to be a little bit of evil to it. But unlike most of the situations, like the latter part that I was talking about, where it's the deception and stuff, the other Matsuri is still here. Suzu even acknowledged, 2 Matsuris? What is going on? So it's going to be incredibly interesting now. Of course, there's going to be hijinks and there's going to be a little bit of a weird dynamic thing going on. And that's fine. But this is a little more fun that she doesn't believe that there's only still one Matsuri and the other one's locked away and all that stuff. It's taking that same trope, but it's sort of doing something different. Both Matsuris are there. They both seemingly are Matsuri. And we're going to go forward. But you know that the corruption is going to affect something because the Gogyosen are totally fine with this, their plan B here. It's like, we didn't hit the Ayakashi medium, we did the next best thing, and classic Exorcist Ninja Bodyguard doing at top of his game, and boom, we corrupted him instead. Let's go. They're fine with this. That means there's a problem. So yeah, overall, I like this new direction. As I said, there wasn't a whole lot to talk about. That's why I sort of filled up the time slot with talking about the tropes and the potential of what this was going to do, because this has been done many times with the twin or the clone or the duplication, the etc. Someone masquerading the illusion, all that stuff. But this time it's going to be a little more interesting because seemingly they're both Matsuri and Suzu knows that they both exist. As I said, even if the other one generally is sort of acts like the real Matsuri or whatever, it's always because she doesn't know the other Matsuri is still out there or trapped or in a coffin. It was done in Vampire Diaries too with the doppelganger shenanigans, right? Doppelganger shit happens in so many different forms of media, and a lot of the time it's the same damn thing. This time I kind of like this where we're starting it off with boom, our main girl already knows that there's two of them. And they're gonna clearly know by next chapter that thing was corruption. It stabbed Matsuri. This is not a good thing. They're going to be wary. They're going to be on their toes from the get-go. So that's a cool direction. I like they're sort of thinking, you know, outside of the box a little bit with this one, using a same trope, but doing a little bit of left field with it. I kind of like it. So anyways, that's the chapter. That's the review. Because really, that's all that happened. But I'm looking forward to the shenanigans that happened in chapter 118. That's all I'm saying. It was a fun chapter. Not a whole lot happened, but a big reveal at the end sort of idea, right? So not a bad chapter whatsoever. I hope you guys enjoyed the chapter. Hope you enjoyed the review. Like, comment, and subscribe. And yes, I will probably be talking about the Ayakashi Triangle anime in a future video, because there's gonna be a little bit of contention with that, because I don't think that's gonna go very far, but we'll talk about that one in another video, maybe this week, maybe next week. So stay tuned for that, and yeah, we'll see you guys back here next time. As I already said, like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you guys back here for chapter 118 of Ayakashi Triangle. Looking forward to it. Know you guys are too. Sayonara.